What's up, friends? This is Jazz, bringing you another Jazz Reviews. Now, I am doing a Rugrats review. It was a while. I think May was the last Rugrats review I did, and this is like August, I believe. Now, this episode, I don't know how long again it's going to be, this review. I will tell you, this is a re-review of it, because I wasn't quite satisfied with the end result of my last one. And it is Angelica Knows Best from season 4 of the Rugrats, which is in the final episode. Each episode up so far has had one other episode with it. I forget what the other one was, so I only watched the Angelica Knows Best for this review. Maybe I'll go to the other one later. Anyway, I'm just gonna point out what I thought was good in it. Like, I really don't think this is a really bad episode. But there are some things that bug me, and there's some things that stand out really good way. So, we're going to say that this whole episode is around the idea of Angelica continuously lying. And it is probably the Rugrats' way of trying to teach a moral to children. But the one thing about this episode is I just don't think it's handled right. But I will get to that as I talk about the whole scenario. We'll say that the starts off with the Rugrats, Tommy, Chucky, and Phil and Lil listening to a tape that narrates a book. One of those old, it was really old, right? When you were a kid, you probably knew. If you were in the 90s, you probably knew what I meant. And they were learning about Pinocchio and how each time he lied, his nose grew. Angelica kind of got bored of it, so she went out to Dee Dee doing a jigsaw puzzle. And, well, okay, it does begin with her doing the puzzle and Grandpa Lou, but I'm just saying the important parts of the story. Now, Angelica wants to help Dee Dee with the puzzle, but Dee Dee clearly says to her, no, this is not for you to play with. So you think, okay, she was given a stern warning. That should be okay, right? No, when Dee Dee leaves to help Grandpa get keys to go to his meeting, Angelica literally hops up and tries to do it. Tommy and the gang comes in because their tape has broke, and they try to warn Angelica that she isn't supposed to play with it, but she still does it anyway, and she gets frustrated because the piece she used, which clearly was misshapen and not supposed to go where she was trying to put it, didn't fit, so she broke the entire puzzle. Now, this is where it gets serious. Dee Dee finds this wreck and says, Angelica, what have you done? Angelica just blames it on Spike, and Dee Dee believes her. Or at least isn't talking to her about this. And one thing that is a habit of Angelica through this whole episode is when she goes to blame it on someone else. She's like for example, when what happened with Spike, she's like, it wasn't me, it was, Spike! And another thing is that she always says, but don't be mad, just a poor dumb doggy or whatever she's blaming it on. Dee Dee's an adult, guys. She should have saw through the But going on, the rest of the story takes place in Angelica's home, because Charlotte is babysitting the babies. And then there's 2 more incidents. Oh, another thing I am going to point out that's funny, though, before we head on, is that the babies, how they often misinterpret or missay things, uses the words pistachio instead of Pinocchio. 2 things cross my mind. One, the closest time I've ever remembered them saying a real word for another word. Another thing, oh god, it has to be a nut. But it was sort of funny. But anyway, Grandpa Lou comes to sell chocolates for his meeting because there's this big prize he wants to win. Charlotte obviously is on this wheatgrass diet, which, ugh. But instead calls her French neighbor. Angelica goes and she steals the candy, and when the babies say it's not yours, she eats it, or like saying, no, it's not yours, and pushes them. Chucky cries, which alerts the adults. And just before they get there, she rubs it on Fluffy, her own cat. And then when when she's confronted her, what happened? It wasn't me. It was Fluffy. She's just a poor dumb kitty. Again, she went the I mean, okay, it still was bad enough that Dee Dee did fall for this, but two adults there, one being in his 60s, maybe 50s, late 50s, mid 60s, they fell for it too. And poor Fluffy was locked up in the crate. Another thing, some chocolate is highly toxic to cats, so seeing Fluffy lick that chocolate made me cringe. And also, none was on her mouth, it was on her back, and the wrappers were clearly unwrapped and open on the floor. How did Fluffy get those open if she's the one who did it? I mean, we'll just say Fluffy did eat chocolate, which she did from her back, and someone would have had to help her. Even the babies could have used their hands. She could have said the babies opened it and the Fluffy ate it or something, like, but literally, like, what explains the wrappers that the cat with her paws couldn't have opened? That was the biggest thing. Okay, two of the lies she told could have been, like, done by the people she blamed or the things she blamed. But the middle one, Fluffy, she could not have done what she said. Angelica said she did. That just bugs me. Finally, when she's confronted by the babies saying her nose is big and her head's getting smaller and all that, she chases them through the house and knocks over her mother's priceless Loomis door vase, or whatever it is. And, well, the whole blaming thing does again. She's like, I didn't do it. It was, the babies. Well, the babies had to be blamed somewhere. And obviously, the babies could have done it, just like Spike could have done the jigsaw puzzle thing. So, I hate that she lied, but that was believable enough. Alright, before I get back into the serious, here's another point in this story that I thought was really, really funny. When Chucky's like, well, that's not fair. And then Tommy's like, yeah, we didn't break anything. And Phil was like, yeah, today. Whoops. Phil, what are you confessing to? Well, at least he's telling the truth. But I mean, like, they just go to say, like, it's a funny way of putting it. For once, like, today they didn't bring anything yet. But anyway, back to the seriousness. Like, they keep telling her nose is getting big, which is caused by a bug bite. I forgot to bring that up. Like, but that's a thing, too, that I'll bring up near the end of it. And then when she looks in the little, not the vase, but a little glass, like, ornament or whatever, for decoration, she sees her nose, like, big, like pink, but big. She runs outside, and then she asks her grandfather if she looks any different, which she just says she's turning into a lovely young lady. Beg to differ. But besides the point to know about my face, he's like, oh yeah, quite a bump, you haven't been lying now, huh, my little Pinocchio? Yeah. And she gets into the crying fit, saying she doesn't know how to not lie, and the babies go to help her. You'd think after being blamed and put in the playpen, they wouldn't help her. But they do. They try to help her to unlie, which the first two times they ask her kind of goes awry. And I just love the interrogation room they used. It had a chair where she was laid with a light over her. It showed 3 different wall clocks with different times, different, like, country places. So that's pretty unique. And, like, it starts by asking about who broke Tommy's mom. You know, it was Phil who asked who broke Tom's or Dee Dee's jigsaw puzzle. She's instantly like, Spike, which at least she didn't say up this time. But then when they asked about loose candy, she does originally go fluffy, then she's like, oh, maybe I ate a little bit. It wasn't the whole truth, but it is coming out. And even Tommy said, well, at least we're getting somewhere. And then Chucky asks, in his own way, who broke Louis something's flower thing instead of Boss, that flower thing. And that's another thing. I love how they pronounce things, especially in this episode. And then, but besides point, Angelica finally says, me. It was me. No, but she confesses, like, fully. And you think, oh, good, so it's going to go smooth. It does, but it doesn't quite go as smooth as you would think. She comes out just as Dee Dee comes to pick up the babies. Then Charlotte tries to tell Dee Dee about the incident with the vase. And then Angelica keeps sprouting a little truths like, the sky is blue, playgrounds are fun, Grandpa Lou is old. But as Charlotte gets a little frustrated, she's trying to talk to Dee Dee and just tell him how the babies broke our vase. And at first, Angelica goes almost back to lying because she feels pressured by her mother when she's trying to say, well, looking at her. And then eventually, Lou comes in with the prize. Yeah, he won the prize even after his whole fiasco. Shows a funhouse mirror, which makes her look even bigger. And she goes and cries and confesses it all. And what's even more ironic is she does it in front of all three adults. All three that she lied to are right in front of her. But what kind of sours this moment is that the reaction Charlotte gives is not one you would give if you just found out your child lied about three major scenarios. She's like, it's okay, baby. Okay, I know Angelica was crying, but really, I'm sorry, guys, but I was literally laughing. Like, I did not feel sorry for her. I just felt bad for the adults and the babe, everyone else involved. Spike, Fluffy especially, knowing the scenario about the chocolate, but, like, I just feel the biggest beef I have is that when I say that it was done wrong, the lesson was done wrong. Like, the consequence wasn't dished out like it should have. Right? Like, they should have had some sort of reaction on the show. Even though I hate the yelling sometimes when it happens. It should have been done so the kids will know that, like, let's just put it this way. I know she was upset, like, the nose was getting bigger, and that could be a consequence. I understand, but it's an unrealistic consequence. Like, maybe when a child first sees this when they're really young, they'll think, oh, this will happen to me if I lie, so I shouldn't. But what if someday they do lie, and this does not happen to them? It won't be a lasting effect. Like, it'll say, oh, well, that's just stupid. Or even if they're too old to realize this. But if they had punished Angelica, like, even if they said, you never do this again, it's wrong, then they would have had a real life consequence thrown at them. What could happen if they lie? Not what supposedly happens. Like, the bug bite, that's the thing. For kids old enough to understand some of the concept of the show, as soon as they see the bug bite, they're like, oh, well, we know what caused it, so what's the point of watching it to the end? It's supposed to be Angelica knows best, oh, her nose is grown, why is she being so stupid? Like, they gave that away. Like, I just, it's a good, like, I enjoyed some of the jokes in this show, but I just think that they handled it, like, it's supposed to be for entertainment. If it was just made for entertainment, without any moral input, then I get it. It's funny, it's well done, but I could tell, like, when kids watch it, that's something they could learn from. If it's just a random adventure, then that's different, but this story looked like it was specifically trying to teach a moral about lying to kids. In a sense, they are lying to kids, saying that if they lie, their nose will get big, like Angelica's. Although, it was a weird coincidence that as soon as she told the truth, her bump was gone. Guys, bug bite does not happen that way. Like, you're telling kids they shouldn't be lying, yet you're completely putting lies in the show for the kids to see. Like, if it, like, okay, I understand a bug bite heals over time, but not within 5 seconds, guys. She saw the red was there when she looked in the funhouse mirror. And yes, I know the funhouse mirror is supposed to exaggerate things. But when she looked in the mirror above her, when she was in her mother's arms, nothing. Not, like, her nose was the regular shape, the regular color. Like, I think it's... I know, I'm trying to be a little more professional, but at the same time, there's some things that still do irk me. Like, guys, if you're trying to teach a moral, make it a little more realistic, even though this is a cartoon. Because this cannot translate well in real life. Like, young kids are really supposed to be watching this. If you're old enough to know this stuff isn't real and just doing it for laughs, and that's fine. But guys, this is not an episode to show kids for morals. Like, there is so much better with it. And also, Angelica, yeah, I know I should feel bad because Angelica's only 3, but she is portrayed as a smart 3-year-old. An over-intelligent 3-year-old, actually. And she knew what she was doing. So, we'll just say, I did not feel bad for her. I kind of wish she got more punishment. Or at least I hope that off the show they did the punishment. Because it irks me that she gets comforted. Just because she was crying in that scenario. And she wasn't, disciplined in the proper way. Because the whole nose growing thing, again, is not a way to teach kids. Because that cannot happen physically in real life. Now, you're probably arguing that there was Pinocchio, which I'm not ranting on that. That was made to be a mythical tale, where the Rugrats pretty much are normally real life. They're cartoon characters, sure, but they're real life humans that age in a way, that act as humans. With Pinocchio, the magic in that was all real in that movie. That was a real consequence. In this real life scenario, it does not work that way. So anyway, I did enjoy the humor, like as I said, with the whole pistachio thing and the not today thing and all these little jokes I did enjoy. So anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this episode or review, give it a big thumbs up. I make videos every single day, so if you're new to this channel and you like what you see, please subscribe. It would help a lot, and I will see you guys in my next video.